considered the YouTube expert by a lot of us on Twitter, and no stranger to finding creative solutions for engaging strategies. Yeah, so I'm gonna hand it over to him. Move him around.
Thank you. Testing. Well, thank you all for coming to the session today. We'll be talking about YouTube and how you can leverage a lot of the insights to really create consumer research, but also actionable insights when you want to scale performance. So let me just give you a quick introduction to myself. I've got a 5-year advertising agency that I started. We're up to 10 people now, primarily e-commerce, and the big differentiator for us as an agency is the analytics, and you'll see a little bit about it today. We work primarily in Power BI, which is a Microsoft data visualization tool. And then I've been speaking for the same time I've owned the agency: SMX, Hero Conference, SearFest, put MNSearch on the list, and also the Utah DMC. So today we'll just go through a quick history, and then we want to get into creative variation. Creative is the most important element on YouTube, and I think it's important for all of us to know how to analyze that as well as test it. Next, we'll dive into some audience analysis, and then we'll look at some campaign type, I think compare and contrast, because there's a lot of different ones in there: CPM, CPV, max conversion, target ROAS, and then lastly, what I'm most excited about, what I hope to give you a lot more intel on, is YouTube Shorts, for both from an organic perspective, but also from an ad perspective. So let's talk a little bit about the history, because this is where I think it's really coming together for me. Is that, like, if we think about like all these different platforms, what I like to call the two at the top, the duopoly, right? Within Google ads and Facebook ads, the D2C starter kit, this is where you have so many platforms, even under just these two. So what happened, right? In my opinion, I think between 2007, 2009, that's where it got interesting. The introduction of Facebook ads. Oh wait, Google, what are we gonna do? We're gonna launch YouTube ads, right? It's always this back and forth. And then as soon as you see in 2013, Instagram ads. Oh, really? Pinterest ads, Snapchat ads. The social ad ecosystem just grows. So well, then what does Google decide to do? Let's launch discovery ads. Let's continue to optimize what we're doing in all of our different platforms and continue to grow. And then more recently, TikTok ads, I think, is the biggest one that has launched in the past couple of years. So when we look at Google specifically and we look at their timeline and their growth, the last couple of years has really been the advancement of discovery ads and most recently Performance Max. What I find so interesting about all these different campaign types is by the end of this year, you'll be able to run video in Performance Max, YouTube, video, I guess you could call it, but then also discovery. And so how is this all going to work together? It's just really super exciting. The next timeline that we'll look at is the YouTube timeline of just the play bar. And it hasn't changed since 2015, but what has changed? That's the advancement of YouTube advertising. When I got into YouTube advertising, I was working with bumpers, and that had just launched. And I was like, holy cow, what a cool 5-second ad unit. Since then, we're looking at non-skippable ads. We used to have to call people and place those buys, 30K minimum, buying right off the UI now. TrueView for your action, which turned into video action, YouTube shopping, and then now more recently live streaming, and we'll soon have short ads. So again, the advancement of this YouTube platform, we've been having to make changes along the way, and it only continues to get better in terms of the insights that you can push out. So the first area that we'll jump into is creative variation. And the first slide that I have to show you is the YouTube timeline for skippable ads. Now, I still think this is the most valuable impression on the web. Like, no matter what Andrea says, Akvil, anybody here, I still think this is the most valuable impression on the web. And it's primarily because you get to hook, engage, illustrate, establish, and qualify the user all before 30 seconds, all before you even pay for that person. Now, what affects this, right? The higher the view rate. If people are staying past 30 seconds, that's considered a view. It's what you pay for. If people just start the video, they maybe skip, they maybe exit out, that's just an impression. Take the views, divide them by the impressions, that gives you your view rate. What Google says is that the higher your view rate, the lower your cost per view. More people make it past 30, go ahead, lower their cost. Less people make it past 30, let's go ahead and increase their cost, right? Because it's all about keeping people on the platform. So being able to use this, I think, is super valuable. The next thing is that when we think about the creative variables, there's 3 of the most important ones. ad length, unlimited length on YouTube. So you can run a 10-minute ad, 15 minutes, 30 minutes, right? Story and intro, less people in the ad, everyone starts it. So create the variation in the beginning of the video so you can begin to test, early up front and get the maximum, I think, feedback back. And then, my apologies. The last one is ad type. Where are you putting this advertisement? Is it gonna go inside of an embedded YouTube on a web page? Is it gonna go inside of YouTube, specifically mobile? Or are we just gonna click TV on and remove desktop, mobile, and tablet and just run it on the TV? That ad type matters in terms of where you want to find the performance, but also what creative that you make. Next, if we're gonna do creative variation, I wanted to provide you with an example of what it looks like. So again, at the top, you have a 60-second, followed by two 15s, a 2-minute and 24, a 32, and a bumper at the bottom. Now, what I want you to do is contrast the different metrics, right? What we found in this is that 2-minute and 24 had best CPM, best CPC, and also a very high completion rate. So we have 43% of people completing a 2-minute and 24 video. That's far more effective than 56% of the people completing on a 15-second video. So people spending time with your videos, what I want you to take away from this. It might be better than somebody maybe going to your website and spending 10 seconds. You got somebody watching your video for 2 minutes. Which one is the better consumer? I still think we have to figure it out. So in this first case study, Ibotta is a brand that is trying to revolutionize couponing through an app. So instead of using the old couponing method, why not keep everything in an app, be able to get those discounts and be able to turn that money right into savings, right? So in working with this brand, we created 3 different versions, and I'm gonna show you the first 30 seconds of each version. Now, at the end of this, I want you guys to try to analyze and tell me which one drove the lowest cost per install, right? We're trying to get people to download an app. So is it the family version, the personal version, or the social version? And after this, we're gonna find out who the best marketers are in the room.
Oh, good. Careful of the phone. No phone means no Ibotta, which means no cash back on almost everything I buy. Dude, seriously? I've never been a coupon clipper, but it's nice to save because things are always coming up. Like when my two BFFs decided to get pregnant at the same time. What am I, a baby shower factory? Luckily, I downloaded the Ibotta app and started getting actual money back. Red or the black? It's date night. Gotta go with the black. Ooh, I'll try the diaper cleaning kit. Everyone's always like, Britt, how do you manage? The trick is I'm always saving money now. Always. Ibotta makes it so easy for me to get extra cash. All I have to do is unlock rebates in my iPhone, verify my purchases, and the savings shop just like that. Hi, Emily, look at your beautiful mural all over mommy's wall. Little reverent. That's why I'm always checking Ibotta now. Ibotta is the free, super simple, money-saving app that gets you cash back on things you want. Okay, guys, I'm stuck. I've been using Ibotta like crazy, and I'm getting all this extra cash, not points, real money back on things I buy every day anyway, and it's so easy. Yeah. See the problem now? College fund for Everly? Just for me. Don't get me wrong, I'm thrilled I downloaded the Ibotta app. Life changer. But I didn't have this many problems, and I didn't have so much extra cash. Seriously, I never would have ordered my BFF a pre-baby shower gift. I swear, everyone's having babies all around me. Red or the black? We're going out tonight. Definitely the black. Ooh, a baby scented candle. Everyone's always like, Rick, how do you manage? The trick is I'm always saving money now. Always. Ibotta makes it so easy for me to get extra cash. I just unlock rebates in my Ibotta app, verify my purchase, and my savings show up just like that. Hi, Everly, look at your beautiful mural all over mommy's wall. Little friend. That's why I'm always using Ibotta. Ibotta is the free, super simple, money-saving app that gets you cash back on things you buy.
Holy.
Oh, spicy? Something coconut soda water, honey. Seriously, before we started saving money with Ibotta, we never would have just ordered the poke, bone marrow, and blistered shishito pepper. He's just being dramatic. Okay, that wasn't cheap. But we love to try new restaurants. It makes us feel rich, but we are in debt. Luckily, I downloaded the Ibotta app, so we can get the real money back and all other stuff we buy in real life. Which is like better. We're going to a gluten-free tasting party tonight. Definitely black. Ooh, vegan fusion Korean tapas. Everyone's always like, Rick, how can you afford to go out? The trick is I'm always saving money now. Always. Ibotta makes it so easy for me to get cash. All I have to do is unlock rebates in my Ibotta app, verify my purchase in my savings show, just like that. Hi, Everly, look at your beautiful mural. There's always something that's gonna eat up your money. That's why I'm always checking Ibotta. Ibotta is the free, super simple money-saving app that gets you cash back.
Okay, so by show of hands, how many think family drove the lowest cost per install? We got one. Wow. How many think personal drove the lowest cost per install? We got two. Okay. So I'm assuming everybody thinks it's social. Oh man. My apologies. You guys are actually right. Social down there, 8.3, right? But what I want to show you is that between these three, it's really that conversion rate. Not necessarily the view rate, not necessarily the click-through rate or the CPC. There was something that touched somebody's heart in that video that caused them to convert, right? So this is why I wanted to show you the difference. And then in this dashboard, another thing that we bring together is audiences. And so you can see the parental status here to the right in the creative comparison. And I want to show you, how this looks week to week. So if you look into week one, what I want to show you is that like a 58, 42% in non-parent versus parent, but a very even delivery between personal, family, and social. When you get into the second week, you begin to see with a little bit more data how social is now breaking away, right? And as the crazy marketer that I am, into week 3, we're fully committed, 98%. We're trying to drive installs, that's what the client's asking for, I'm with you, right? I just think what is interesting is that when you take social and you combine it with not a parent, it does even better, right? And that's where you get creative plus audience at the same time. What I also find is interesting is that if I click parent, right, you begin to see how that family version does a little bit better versus not a parent, where that family version is there. So again, you begin to build creative that I think aligns to some of these the targeting capabilities within Google. Back to the presentation. Next case study that we'll look at is for a great brand called Purple Mattresses. I got to work on this very early in my career. And what they do that's different is they build characters for each of their products. And they like to have a variety of different creative. They like to test at a massive scale. And that's what I really learned from them. And I wanted to bring this case study because it was an early case study, but now I have the tools to be able to analyze this data like almost, even better than I was before. So I'm gonna show you the difference between a product demo and like a funny, product video, right? And then we'll look in the data to see the differences.
What's a super easy way to tell that your bed is awful? The raw egg test. Let me prove it. When it comes to mattresses, you used to only have 3 choices. Looking for some shoulder pain? Try a hard mattress.
Sorry, should have played more of that. That was the first 30 seconds of a product demo for the Goldilocks. And so now, this is more character funny for something, for the mattress protector featuring the Sasquatch.
Did you know that the wrong mattress protector can ruin the feel of your mattress? Hi, I'm a mom. One of the hardest jobs out there. This is Junior. Junior's a sweetheart, but he can wreak havoc on our mattresses. Which is why I got the Purple Mattress Protector. Nobody likes sleeping on a plastic bag. Other protectors turn your bed crinkly or stiff, and they make your mattress noisy, hot, and uncomfortable. Like a Nickelback concert.
So when we look at this analysis, what I want you to see and what I've highlighted here is the Goldilocks up top and the Sasquatch down below, right? And the thing that I want you to narrow in on before we go ahead and play with the visualization a little bit is the difference in earned views and earned view percentage and how drastic those are, right? So what is an earned view? This is a user who watches a YouTube video and then goes to your channel and watches another video, right? Like that is a key move. Like they didn't go to my website, they wanted to go see more videos. So when we notice this with Sasquatch, it's like, what do? Got to give the people what they want, right? Build more Sasquatch. So let me show you a little bit over time. So the Sasquatch only ran for a couple of weeks, right? And so if we look at these 2 weeks and we compare, that Goldilocks and that Sasquatch, you can see, week 2, week 3, Goldilocks, Sasquatch. What you end up seeing is a clear difference in cost per click, right? Much better with Goldilocks, right? Clicking to that website. But much difference from an earned view standpoint. More earned views, double the amount of earned views for Sasquatch than click volume. That's how you know, right? They want to see that. And then it's like, well, does it drive subscribers? Well, absolutely. At 2.6% of everybody that became a view. So if they made it past 30 seconds, 2.6% of those people were becoming a subscriber. And when you look at the cost per acquisition, $522 for Goldilocks versus $1,184, for Sasquatch. And what I want to relay is that you can develop different creative that does different things, that can drive certain types of engagement over other. And I don't want to get into this, let's just send people to the website, like all the time. We can do more, I think. So that's a case study in, the difference of creative. And so what's the Sasquatch effect, right? You continue to build off of it. Now the Sasquatch is a part of the pillow. Now we're doing behind the scenes Sasquatch. Now we're being Sasquatch back for Christmas. And even when we search just for purple commercial, what comes up? Bigfoot, Sasquatch, purple monster commercial. We gotta think, like I'm pulling data from 2017 and people are still typing this stuff in. So it's crazy what creative can do, for a brand. Let's keep going. So the next section that we want to look at after we looked at creative, right? Because in the creative section, we can see that we can optimize this creative, learn from it, drive certain actions that we want. And so into the audience area, this is where I think Google gives us data and insight that not many other brands give us. And one of my favorite reports is this combination report, where they stack the age, gender, parental status, and household income. With those 4 variables, I understand a ton. And when I can combine those with placement, when I can combine those with device, that's where we really take it to another level. So I'm going to show you another dashboard. And this has to do with the combination report. Again, we talked about age, gender, parental status, household income, and then we have this audience comparison at the bottom. And what I also want you to see is that CPA area in the top left corner, because one is going to stay static, and the other one is going to move as we begin to improve performance. So you can see here, and we're looking at a B2B client, specifically for Andrea. And so I can easily see 35 to 64. And then I go over here and I go, oh, top 10%, that looks great. Oh, females also convert better. Oh, not a parent, right? And so you begin to see how I find that best performing audience. Maybe even tighten it up a little bit there. And I can lower that CPA from 45 to 31 if I go ahead and create an ad group or a campaign that targets these females, top 10%, not a parent, 45 to 64, with about a 30% plus, difference in CPA. The other thing that you can do is when you compare these audiences, go ahead and drop this down and compare the different bid types. And that gives you an even deeper understanding. But this is one way to use the combination report to really find that core audience. Because again, we are trying to build, consumer research. And knowing this about converters, I think can help us across multiple platforms as well as within the Google platform. So we now know our core audience. And that core audience can help us in a variety of ways, either using it as a target or separating it out potentially on a different platform and also using it. The next dashboard that we'll look at is the placement report. And so Andrea talked about this as well, but this is where you can find specific placements that work well for your brand. And how do you know? Well, Google's going to give you the information on what placements drove conversions, what placements people clicked on versus what placements were just viewed. So when we're here, we can easily see that the majority of the dollars were run on YouTube. And so when we click on YouTube, we can then see some of the best performers here. And what I like to do is I like to compare and say, let's take TED Talks, let's take Lo-Fi Girl, let's take CNN, and let's take Simon Sinek, and let's go ahead and compare them, right? And so we can say we spent the most on TED Talks, we can see the view rates, the click-through rates are the lowest for Lo-Fi Girl because they're just listening, right? And then you have a view conversion rate versus a click conversion rate. And what do we find? Simon Sinek. 3% of the people that made it past 30 seconds on an ad before his content converted. 83% of people that clicked on it converted. I think I know who to reach out to for my next sponsorship. I think I know who to reach out to or who I want to come to my next event and talk to my team, right? Like that is just such great consumer information. So when we have that type of information, what do we find? TED Talks, inspiration. That's something core to our target. Mentorship, guidance, new ideas. Again, core to our target. Lo-Fi Girl, TD Jakes, relaxation, working. Okay, I'm building a persona, avatar of my converters on YouTube, which is a very hard conversion to get. Somebody typing in and converting on my product, somebody converting on Facebook, right? Easy to grab those. Harder to get them here, and that's why I put more emphasis on some of these audiences. And so, what are some of the next steps if you have this information, right? What I like to do is take the placements, best performing. I'm building my own TV, conglomerate of all these channels that work the best. Next, I want to find similar creators, right? Maybe they're a little bit smaller. Simon Sinek, huge, probably costs a ton. But if I can find similar creators, right, that are just a little bit lower, that might work for me. You have websites and apps, keywords, brand, non-brand. We're starting to test creator keywords. So targeting something like Simon Sinek, right? Like, does that bring me a better audience? And then custom audience development. If you know what apps work from the placement report, go ahead and create a custom audience of only those apps. If you know what websites work, if you know what creators work, create custom audiences for websites, for keywords specific to creators or these channels. And then the next thing is like the sponsorship. Like, how do you put that together? And this, I think, was a great one done by Cred.ai, where they had the landing page, they had the influencer, they had the 10-minute video, they had the product placement, they had the bar at the bottom. It's like such a great, integration between, I found, somebody on YouTube that works well for my brand. Here, let's go ahead and put it all together. Next section is campaign types. And I get a lot of questions, on campaign types and what we should do. Should it be max CVV, target CPM? And I wanted to make it sort of simple, right? If we're going to do CPM, it's going to be reach. Impression volume is what I'm after. So put this in front of somebody. I don't care how long they stay. I don't care if they click through. Cost per view, 30 seconds or more. I want people to move in my video to a minute, 2 minutes, right? But I don't necessarily care about them getting to my website. But probably a core metric that I'm going to analyze is the Google Analytics behavior and also earned views. And then you have conversion campaigns, exactly what they're there for, to convert users. Google has a good understanding of who converts and who doesn't. So I think when we buy YouTube ads, we're always comparing it to the end platform. We're always going to compare it to search. I think now we're starting to compare it more to Facebook and Instagram. And one of the things that I find in Google is that, like, if you're just looking at click-through rate or CPC or view rate, it's not telling you the full story. And that's why I like looking at the Google Analytics metrics. And so you can look at YouTube, Google Analytics user behavior inside of Google Analytics, or you can look at it inside of Google Ads. Either way, it's going to give you the same information. So I want to show you a dashboard that ends up breaking down the difference between direct response and branding. And you can see max conversion, target CPA, target CPM, cost per view, efficient reach. And if you just lump them all together, you can see the value in the reach and in the view volume. The CPC is identical. But when you move over here to the Google Analytics metrics, you can see that those conversion campaigns bring a better user per cost, to your website, regardless of what you pay, for that view. And that's the one thing that, like, I want to get across is that, a CPV campaign is very different than a maximized conversion campaign. Even when you think about getting users to your website, it's very, very, very different. But I wanted to contrast these two for you because I think, we go at it and we try to figure out, what to start with. And in my opinion, test maximize conversion, test target ROAS or target CPA. I get those two. I always misplace those two. And I think you'll find, what works best for your brand. And then the other thing that I like to do with YouTube is compare it against the other, I'd say, Google Ads platforms. Like on this chart, you can see the difference between YouTube, Google Search, Discovery, Shopping, and Display. And again, what I wanted to, toss in here was those earned views, right? And so again, YouTube is special in the sense that you can engage in a different way. And those two ways that I think are most effective is viewing a video for a longer period of time, but also becoming an earned view, potentially a subscriber. Like that is, I think, super powerful to the platform. I promise no more dashboards. Sorry. The next section we'll look at YouTube Shorts. And so Shorts, I think, is an evolution based on other platforms, right? We saw Instagram steal stories from Snapchat. We saw TikTok completely blow up on Instagram, and now TikTok is leading. And now we have Instagram and Facebook and Google wanting to be like TikTok with vertical ads. But when we look at the prioritization and the innovation of Google, this is where they've always had, right? Bumpers, 6 seconds. What do we want to get rid of? Forced anything. We do not want to be like TV. We want to be like digital. And I think it was a very smart move on their part. What's interesting about Shorts is you have an influencer that is on TikTok and decides to come over to YouTube for 28 days and ends up with 500,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is crazy because there's people that I know personally that go out and make 10-minute videos, 30-minute videos that don't have 10,000 subscribers. And this guy got to 500,000 in 28 days by just posting short content. So what does this page look like today, right? 1.45 million, and he's got his shorts right there at the top that you can view. So I want to put the pressure on all advertisers to take shorts very seriously and to understand that this is a platform that I think will expand in the future. And then when we think about short stats, like why, right? 15 billion daily average views. They've created an entire creator fund to help fund creative. And then the ad length is going to be between 15 to 60 seconds. And then one of the things that I'm excited about is just like the YouTube short ads. If we look on the left, you're going to see more of a DR type of spot, in my opinion. You've got the product carousel, the shop now, full share of voice, full screen, and you've got the engagement metrics down the right. And then on the right side, it looks more of like a branding play. We've got the skip button, not full share of voice, but enough to really see a really good ad. And while this demonstration is a 15-second ad, what if you could run a minute, vertical? Or maybe it's unlimited, who knows? But I think this is what I'm most excited about is what are those ad links? Because when we think about before we get to the stories. When we think about a short, right? I was thinking about this the other day. Like, why is it going so well for them? Like, why is the short working so well? Why, if you use YouTube in this room, why do you guys view shorts? Because I view them as well. And I think it's because it's such less of a commitment. When we see an 8-minute video on YouTube, it's like, oh, save to watch later. But if I see a short, it's like, let's go. So I think that's going to be the power in the future for a lot of brands. The next thing is YouTube also has stories. And so the big question, and I put the Reddit post up there, is like, what's the difference between a short and a story? Stories are only live for 7 days. Shorts last forever. But I don't think many people know that you can do stories on YouTube. And this is something that I have a lot of my brands stepping into and doing more just to get the learning out of it. So as we close things out, I want us to kind of remember a few things. The first thing is creative variation, right? It's so important. Make the variation wildly different, or else we're not going to learn anything. Like, we have to have 2 different actors, or like I showed you with those 2 demos, right? They're kind of wildly different variations. Super important. The next thing is audience analysis. I think Andrea did such a good job in the previous presentation talking about that placement report and how you should look at it at least once a week. I don't do that, but now I will. But the placement and the combination report are 2 areas that I think I learned the most about a YouTube audience that I think has helped me expand into other areas and just grow brands. And then campaign type and subtype. So you want to look at user behavior when it comes to Google or YouTube ads. And that user behavior on the website is so important, but also the earned view, the CPC, click-through rate, comparing different creatives, also very important. My rule with conversion campaigns is test them both. I'd start off with maximize conversion and then maybe move into a target ROAS. The cool thing about target ROAS is that, like, at the ad group level, I like to separate out audiences, and because I can change that target ROAS, I now have a way to optimize the budget. Otherwise, Google's going to do whatever it wants to do. But I'd start with maximize conversion and then move into target ROAS. And then my cost per view and my CPM campaigns, what I like to do is I like to test creative here because I get the most bang for my buck. You guys saw those CPMs. If I put new creative in a conversion campaign, it's $45 CPMs. If I put it in a cost per view campaign, I know it's not going to convert, but I'm going to see if people stay past 30 and at what propensity. I'm going to see who makes it to the end of the video, etc. I know it's not going to happen maybe in a conversion campaign, but I can then test and see what works and what people are gravitating to. And then also, lastly, as Andrea mentioned as well, exclusions. I'd recommend Joe Martinez's list. I think it's awesome to remove kid videos. And then also, what we like to do is remove music. If I put all this time into making this creative, I want somebody to watch it, not just listen to it. So again, music removal, and then also children removal, I think is the top 2. And then YouTube Shorts. Start testing as soon as possible. You can repurpose your content from Reels, and then I'd really prioritize, this ad unit over many others. And that's it. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Cory. That was awesome as always. I learned a lot again. Any questions? We have about, we could stretch it to 15 minutes if we wanted to, otherwise we could do 10 minutes of questions. Yeah.
Thanks, Tim.
How tight is the circle between this audience analysis and creative development? Do you start with creative and then look at the audience and then feed back to the creative team for the next iteration? Or is it like a constant conversation? Like, how often are you taking this information back to the creative team?
I would say it depends. No, we are very quick to give creative intel. We, maybe test for a couple of weeks, again, depending by the budget, but we're always working, with creative. I think it's a little bit longer to get that audience analysis. I can get good feedback on creative about view rate, click-through rate, and those things that I think creatives want to know. But I think in a later meeting, right, I'll talk to them about what placements are working best. And so I don't think that those initial behaviors help creative. It's more just oh, we did a better job than last time. We got a 60% view rate versus a 40%. This is a good one. But then when we get to that next phase of okay, well, how well did it convert? it's like, oh, well, now that's a different conversation. And then also, when we look at like what placements it converted on, the demo stuff, it helps round out that image. And what we're finding is that like building for a specific audience. If I can build for 35 to 55 females who are non-parents and show them something similar, does that have more of an impact? And that's where us and the creative team really get close.
Hi, is there any chance you would share some of your excellent data studio report templates with us?
Oh, they're Microsoft Power BI report. Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're a Microsoft Power BI user, we can chat. Oh, I'm sorry. It's okay. We'll convert you soon.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry.
Do you have any thoughts on like, those are great campaigns. I mean, they got the budget to make a Sesquatch video and another video or whatever. But like, what about like people that have like a smaller budget? Because I have a lot of clients that are smaller. They're not gonna, hey, we need to spend $5,000 on a
Sure.
Sesquatch. Do you have any thoughts on like how to create content that's a little more inexpensive, a little more organic, perhaps? I mean, that's not very.
I think the cheapest, most effective, owner of business, face the camera. Tell me about your business. Owner of business, whiteboard, presentation. Oh, it might be too long. Unlimited length on YouTube. Try it, see if it'll work. I think with smaller businesses, what I find is you have to take the pieces that you already have, right? Oh, my brother's a graphic artist. Oh, this person I know that can do video, he owes me a favor. We need to get together, this and that. I think the thing that I would just say for small businesses, just create 2 spots and make the variations different. Because then you can see, oh, they do want you talking face to camera. Actually, the female version did work better. So that's what I would say, is that you don't need this. You absolutely don't need this to be able to test, see variation, and then let that guide you to what you're gonna build in the future.
Everybody else has a question? I'll ask one more. The shorts, is that available to everybody like right now, or is that, it is? Okay.
Organically. We can't run ads there, yet, unless, Julia over here, she's got big budgets over here. She gets a.
It was in Google Marketing Live. They're going to monetize it as soon as humanly possible.
Okay, cool. I'll be watching.
So, what are your feelings, and I apologize if I missed it, amazing presentation, on the Performance Max and how much video is all getting muddled in, and the lack of asset details, so where we have all this robust data from a YouTube standpoint and video standpoint, now getting rolled into Performance Max, how are you salvaging some of the data? Have you found any creative strategies there, or is it just we're trust falling again and yay?
Trust falling, as you mentioned, is a part of it, but I think it's hitting shopping a lot more than it's hitting, I think, video. I think they will have a tough time saying, hey, all you YouTube advertisers, everything's blind, right? I think they can do that with shopping the same way that they can't. So I think video will live, but the asset customization and performance match, I think, is interesting. I'm like, if you know a lot about this specific assets, then yeah, move them as you would like. And then in working with our Google rep, she really explained how, creating different assets for different audiences. And I'm just like, oh, okay, this can get interesting. But I think what I also like about Performance Max is you're getting into shopping placements that you can't get into in regular shopping. It's like shopping on YouTube. So it's an interesting one. I don't have an extreme amount of thoughts behind it, but I am seeing, as I'm rolling it out to different advertisers, that advertisers that have a really good YouTube channel get more YouTube placement. And it's so interesting how that premium placement is really tied to the organic again, similar to other platforms. So still in progress, but I don't think that they're going to shut down our ability to do video YouTube specifically.
So right now, a lot of my YouTube ads are more just like TV commercials ported over into YouTube. So I was wondering what sort of strategies you use to make your creative more like YouTube focused, since I think that's a big miss for us.
What category are you in?
B2B, payroll. Very exciting.
I worked on it. I would say the client that I worked on did a great job of just making different variations. I know I keep going back to it, but with this client that I worked on in B2B, we really went after like different actor, right? How does a white female explain it? How does a black male explain it? You know, like what do people click through on versus not? And I think when you think about payroll, because you're trying to go after HR professionals.
Yeah, or like CFOs, that type of thing as well.
Yeah, needle in a haystack. So I think it's finding the, you know what I would use too? Ad sequencing. Very good tool for you that we use with our B2B client. And so what ad sequencing allows you to do is it allows you to take an action from a user and then show them a specific video. So you can tell YouTube like, hey, if this person skips this ad, show them this video. If this person makes it past 30 seconds, show them this video. And that I think has helped us take our B2B clients, consumers, down a little bit of a road versus trying to just spray and pay, because the needle in the haystack thing is very, very, very hard on YouTube, but doable.
Anyone else? Yeah.
So I'm interested in doing YouTube SEO. How can I best help our paid team as well?
YouTube SEO comes down to using that headline, right? The YouTube title as well as the description, like it's a blog post. I'm talking about links, emojis, everything that you can fit in that description you do, because you're talking to the search engines, and you guys know that better than anybody. And so that's where I find is like the biggest impact thing. But what's growing in terms of impact, and might be more even impactful than that, is chapters. I am now finding out that if a YouTube video has a chapter, it's moved right up to the top of the search results. Like as soon as you have chapters, like so if you already have content, I'd go back and look at those chapters. I think another thing that we found with a seafood client of ours, he does a lot of YouTube, and he only has one video of like maybe 6 that got to like 40K. And it's like, why? And it's like, because you put the exact keywords in the title. And if I go search for that in Google, you are, mid-page on that in the search results. So I think when you think about YouTube SEO, it's understanding that people on YouTube search differently than search. But if I get YouTube right, I'm gonna get search, impression volume. So taking all those little tactics, also cards and end screens. These are little things that pop up during a YouTube video. Hey, you wanna watch another one? And then at the end of a YouTube video, hey, you want to watch another video, you want to subscribe, etc. But I think with the cards, because you have text there, YouTube is picking all of that up. Like the more that you can massage the text into a YouTube video, I think YouTube will reward you for that. Google and YouTube.
Cool, thank you. I think we can go to lunch. We're close anyway. I had one more technical question before we wrap it. Did you, for your Power BI reports, did you combine YouTube Analytics and Google Ads to create those cross visuals?
I only used Google Ads, and then when I showed you the Google Analytics,
Yeah.
I was then pulling in Google Ads information as well as the Google Analytics information to get the new user, the cost per new user, and things like that. The YouTube Analytics and Google Analytics, I haven't necessarily pushed them together yet,
Okay.
but it's a cool opportunity.
All right, cool. That was I was wondering. Great questions, everyone. Let's go to lunch and give a round of applause for everyone.
Thank you.